Hello and welcome to the Performance Racing League Tier 2, Round 2 at Monza. This is Lucas Ade, your commentator, and we join just as we slightly enter into the one and only qualifying session for the race. So right now we're following Mattias Binotto in the McLaren on PC, it looks like, on his outlap. Let's just take a little look and see how he fares. And turn on all the required settings. Here we go. Now, quite a lot of others are doing laps, so it looks like we've got almost an entire grid bar 2 runners right now, either on laps or about to embark on hot laps. Some sort of lockup, it appears, unless it's an audio glitch there. Nice and early up into 4th on the exit of the chicane. That chicane notorious in Tier 2. Some historical incidents there on race starts. Let's hope that the drivers keep it clean this time around. And I've been reliably informed that that uses Corky just set pole with a 1:22.0, and it was immediately taken off top spot by Arcognito, who had a great first outing at Silverstone, a new driver, and Cheryl Shaft, one of the more seasoned vets, has just set a gain pole, and Femi knocking down to 1:20.6, so a lot of punches being thrown. Don't worry, we'll get plenty of time to follow these guys, but let's just stay on board with Mattia so we can show you a full lap. Ascari really hard. You've got to be fully committed in quali to get any sort of good lap time through there. But of course the first run's often a banker. A slightly annoying yellow flag, but shouldn't have caused too much damage there to the lap time. And the final corner, Parabolica. Got to really rotate that car in, get it hooked and early on the throttle. Pretty clean through there. What's it going to be? So 1:20.7 and provisionally 4th place. There we go. So let's see, Vinny is on an outlap. I believe Vinny, one of the drivers that either uses no assists at all or just racing line. So he's on an outlap, we'll sort of keep track. And Heiskran, I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly now. Just approaching sector 3, right on the limit there, looks really rapid. So for those that missed out on the very first event, it was at Silverstone, and it was a very close battle in particular between 2 of the drivers, Ramsey and Cheryl Shaft, who are currently looking like the favourites. But of course, it's only been 1 race so far. Let's see how the others respond. And Heiskran immediately responds with a really good time, a 1:21.0 and 3rd place. And let's just filter through. Let's pick up with Vinny. And okay, Vinny going straight back into the pits. Not sure if it was a mistake or just wanted to get some heat, a cycle into the tyres. We'll find out later. So who else do we have? Arcognito looks like he's on a hot lap. He's 3 tenths improved on his previous best. So it's looking good enough for 5th as it stands. But Ascari, this corner right there, or this section right here, you can make up a lot of time. A little bit of lag, but nice and early into 6th, using all of the curb. I assume this is a flying lap. The battery's really low. Monza does use a lot of battery, so it's hard to qualify, because if you mess up your lap, even having 1 lap to recharge isn't enough, and then by then your tyres are kind of broken. But a 1:25.5, a 1:21.5.68, a very good lap time indeed, 5th place. So we've got Cher and Femi in the pits, previously teammates I believe in the Williams last season. And do we have... yeah, we have Northern with a 1:21.3, we should give a shout out there, it's a great lap time. I know Northern was wanting to improve on his quali times through this season. So we've got Shep just embarking now on his hot lap. Let's follow him in the Red Bull, previously part of Ferrari. Had that taken away from him in the draft, but Red Bull's a great team. I'm sure he's not too upset there. Nice early turning. Keeps gear 1 through the chicane. Interesting. Something else I've been told is that the mechanic symbol on the HUD, so if you look at the lower sort of HUD dashboard with the gears, the miles per hour, there's a spanner and what looks like a sort of screwdriver. That symbol is red if your teammate's in the pits and sort of stopped, and I think it's blue if your teammate's going in the pits or something like that. I need to find out more information, but it's definitely pit related, so that clarifies a few of the questions that were asked last time around. 10 minutes to go in this qualifying session, and Shep's looking pretty rapid, a little bit conservative, but understandably it's his first run. Oh, third gear through Parabolica. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Really trying to rotate that car. And a 121.470 is the prize, and 5th place provisionally. And here we go, so the two front runners right now are making their way out on their outlaps. Round 2 of what should probably be a 3 pot lap qualifying session, assuming no funny business. Who else do we have? So Shep making room, nice to see. Scallon on a hot lap as well. But let's stay on board with Cher and follow Cher versus Femi. Cher now driving in the AlphaTauri. And I'm just going to announce this stream in the Discord for those that aren't aware. Oh, and Femi making room, so has he aborted already? It's a very interesting time to abort, isn't it? Not sure what's really going on there. Maybe one for the stewards later. Looks like something's happened. But anyway, Cher, oh, running wide through Laszlo 1. But I don't think he's invalidated, I think because he lifted. But I'm pretty sure that's hurt his lap time significantly there. What a shame. 8 minutes to go though. Plenty of time for an in-lap. Or he could just abort this lap completely. Let's watch the battery. Slightly down, so this is where he decides, right, does he back off? And the answer is yes, he's backing off. So is he going to go for a lap now? The battery is really touch and go. This is an awkward situation. It kind of touches on what I highlighted earlier, that if you do mess up a lap, it often takes a whole other lap to warm up, and he's sensibly boxed knowing that. So he'll change his tyres and go for another stint, because at this point the battery is just kind of scuppering him. Let's see what Femi's up to. So Femi has now let a car through. I believe that was either Tack or Vinny. In fact, it must have been Tack. Tack is about to approach his hot lap, and Femi is just letting other cars through as he approaches his hot lap. So here we go, Tack, Delta and Femi. Let's follow these two. And let's just check out the tyre life. Yep, so fresh rubber for these guys. Really using all the curb there through the chicane. It's a hard one. A lot of different sort of strategies and lines through there. I tend to try not to touch the curves at all, really. Very nice, just avoids the sausage. Nice clean exit as he makes his way to the Leslows. Maybe a slightly late turn in, but keeps good pace. Nicely over the curve, straightens it up, full throttle down here into what is the first DRS zone of the hot lap, or lap in the race. Nice early turn in into Ascari, full commitment there, full throttle all the way through, we love to see it. Always pays dividends, that. And Heitskran, or Heitskran, he has retired. Don't know if that was an incident or if he's just decided that's his max pace. Maybe it was an incident, because I did see some yellows earlier. But let's stay on board with Tac Delta, let's see what we can do. Oh! That was close to an invalidation right at the end, but a 122.249 and 14th place. Let's go back to Femi. So Femi now, as he makes his way around, Yeah, 4 seconds down, so he must have made a mistake. Now he has time. Oh, interesting. So he does have time to go in the pit and do another lap. Now, I think to do that though, he has to pit on this lap. So at the end of this lap, he needs to pit, change tyres, and he'll be fine. Which I think is what he's deciding to do. But he now has to get out of the way of a lot of high-flying hot lap runners. Right, so we've got Corky, not Corby, Corky, on his, what looks like next hot lap, but already on 54% battery, so not an ideal situation. And just reading the chat messages, yeah, I'm actually surprised Cher's lap wasn't invalidated. Really shocked. I reckon F1 have patched. When I say patched, I mean they've changed Ascari, because I actually noticed in the race that, for example, on my last lap, I'm sure I must have invalidated, but it didn't give anything, and I didn't even lift. So maybe there's something at play there. And I think the Leslows as well, they made a bit more lenient. Corky's slightly slower than before, but he can make this... Or maybe not. I think he could have made it up in Ascari, but I think he went better last time around there. Plenty of time though. Although I say that, if he wants to improve, he probably needs to box right now and just give it one last go. One last roll of the dice, as they say. As Chaos now embarks on his hot lap, currently in 12th with a 1:12.055. And okay, Corky's decided to stay out, and will he improve? It's going to be tight. Oh, almost an identical time. No improvement. Probably the worst possible situation for him. I don't know. He will probably just about have enough time. If he boxes, changes tyres and goes out, he should be okay, but he's cutting it very close. Traffic could ruin him. Right, we've got Dookie on an out lap. Arcognito is now on his hot lap, currently 4th. Let's follow him. And some other news, Cheryl Shaft makes his way out onto his out lap. Ramsey now joining him. So a lot of these runners maybe close to their sort of theoretical bests. They're all kind of almost matching their previous times at this stage. Not sure if the track conditions are changing ever so slightly. And a spin from a Haas. Is that going to affect anything? It seems okay. Let's go back to Arcognito. Okay, and I'm just reading the message from Heiscran. Heiscran, sorry. That is, yeah, a real shame. Ascari is a tough one in qualifying, but I think it's worth going full throttle and really giving it, especially when you've already set a good lap, such as the one you set. Oh, and Parabolica, another deathly corner for many drivers. Saw quite a few incidents in the Tier 1 race that preceded this one. That's a real shame. Don't think he's going to have time. Probably wants to be a little bit careful now. He's got about a couple of seconds to get out of the way. Let's just follow through with Cher. Let's not get too embroiled in that. I think Arcognito's done the right thing and just let them through. Here we go. So Cheryl Shaft, Sector 1. Can he improve? Can he get pole position? Right now it's on. It's potentially on. Really nice through there. Maximising the track width, track limits. Leslows, which have been catching some drivers out recently. Very nice speed through there. And a yellow flag's out. Hopefully it's not going to impede Cher's lap, because this is looking promising. Nice and early into 6th, when it looked like a Merc of Scallon there, dropping it in Ascari straight into the barriers. Eliminated. And the best he can hope for is a P10. But this was looking like a very solid lap. Very solid indeed. Nice early turn in, just kisses that curb. That's normally a good sign. Looked like the rear was about to drop, but just kept it together. And has to make sure not to invalidate. And there we go, 1:25.85, really moving across to the right. Looks like Cher has been, I reckon Cher has been doing some practice, whether it's maybe appearing offline. There's a bit of, you know, spy warfare going on, but that looked like a lap of a man who has studied the time trials to me, as someone who has done that before. And let's now follow Femi. Femi about to embark. Can he improve? He needs to improve, but only slightly. 49 seconds left, so this will be his last attempt. And it looks like Mateus is going to also make it, although he's on a lap right now. Let's see what he can do. And the answer is not enough. He boxes. So it looks like Femi is the only one that can maybe challenge. Ramsey, though, never ever count Ramsey out. We'll follow those two. Ramsey had a great run in Tier 1. And yeah, Femi's decided it's just not enough. So he's backing out. But still, second place is not bad at all. Good pace there. So Ramsey's improved. So already looking like he's on for 6th if he can hold it together. Hopefully he doesn't get blocked. I'm a little bit worried. Get a bit of a DRS toe, that might have actually helped him. Albeit maybe only by a tenth or two. 2 tenths up. Full commitment. That looks really nice through there. Really, really nice. Wow. I mean, I'm not sure how good his previous lap was, but that could now be putting him on even for pole, if that was a big improvement. Looked really clean. Nice, cuts it right on the inside, just like Cher, minimising the track distance. And takes pole position with a 125. So the question we asked was, how much better was that Ascari run? It looked incredible, and the answer was it was just enough to snatch pole. So yet again, Ramsey, Cher and Femi are looking like the standouts, with Ramsey and Cher just ahead of Femi. And I think, again, just like with Silverstone, Highscran just behind, and then a few little challengers, Arcognito, Chef and so on. Also really good to see Northern there in 9th with a 121.3. Looks like an improvement on last season, I would say, with the qualifying times. So a pretty positive session, some good lap times. Let's see, is anyone else running? I think Dookie, but he's almost a second down, so that is not going to cut it. There we go. That will be it then for the Tier 2 Performance Racing League qualifying session. We're at Monza, it's round 2. Whilst we just wait for the runners to conclude their laps and box, we'll just take a little look at the Tier 2 standings as of round 1. So Ramsey is ahead, 50 points is what we award for winning in PRL, and he took that coveted inaugural race win of the season. Cheryl Shaft in 2nd, and Shep rounding off the podiums in 3rd. Highscran 4th. Femi finished 9th, but that was due to an incident on, I believe, lap 1 or 2, which hampered his race, but he did well to make it back. And the McLarens of Jimmy and Matthias, 6th and 7th. So already some good performances. But there we go. That rounds off the qualifying session, pretty entertaining. And what we'll now have is a small little break of around 2 to 5 minutes. And then we will return for the safety car formation lap and the race. But just to quickly give you the final qualifying classifications, we have Ramsey on pole in the Alpine, a fantastic lap that we had the privilege of watching with a 125. Cheryl Shaft just being pipped to the post there in 2nd with a 120.5, so 600ths off. Really, really good racing there. Femi Thrustmaster rounds off those sort of pole, or sorry, I should say podium qualifying positions in 3rd in the Williams with a 126.38. Femi remaining at Williams. We have Highscran in 4th, Arcognito 5th, Mateus 6th, AD Shep 7th, Duki Jose 8th, Northern Cannon 9th, Scannon 10th, Chaos Street 11th, Babiago 12th, Disgruntled 13th, Corky 14th, Tack 15th, Dutch I think 15th, and I think it was Vinny 16th. The others will catch later because someone readied up. We'll try and catch the incident reports as well. We need to make sure that people don't ready up after the session ends, just to give the stream enough time to actually capture all the information. But it shouldn't be a problem for qualifying. So just to run through the order as it stands, so Ramsey 1st, Cher 2nd, Shep 3rd, as we said, Highscran 4th, and Babiaga in the Aston 5th from round 1. Jimmy 6th, Mateus Binotto, always makes me laugh, 7th, Northern 8th in the Merc, Femi's in 9th, Vinny's 10th with 12 points, so you can already see the drop-off. The points range from 50 to 0, and it kind of tries to mimic the ratios as with the normal F1 grid, but just to award points from 1st to 20th rather than 1st to 10th. Anyway, so Vinny in 10th with 12, Disgruntled 11th, Tack 12th, Ducky 13th, Dutch 14th, Scallon 15th, Tafur 16th, Chaos Druid 17th, Arcognito 18th, and Jeffrey 19th. And I believe the 20th runner was not able to enter the first race, so there's no sort of 20th showing right now. But all will be revealed, I suppose, in that space. Let me just check the Discord chat in case I've missed anything. No, nothing there. And just to catch up on the stream chat, thanks for engaging. It's always good to see some of the seasoned vets on the stream. And yeah, I do think Femi could have got pole, if I'm honest. Just a few mistakes, it seemed, on his opening sector times and just had to abort. But it happens. I do think around Monza, sector 2 and 3 is where you gain the most time. I think, I don't know, for me anyway, sector 1 I was just very consistent. And then the Leslows and especially Ascari's where I was making up loads of time. But here we go. The formation lap. Ramsey's going to lead the way. So there has been some quite interesting history here with some multi-car pile-ups. Monza, traditionally, even at sort of elite racing level and real racing level, is notorious with this chicane. You'll notice that there is an alternative track layout whereby you skip the chicane, and that is pretty much for the reason of avoiding these crazy collisions, because you are absolutely maxed out with the engine going down there. Your gear 8, whatever your max sort of speed is, 2 miles per hour perhaps. And then you are going straight down into second gear into that chicane, so you can just about fit 2 cars abreast through there, but you've really got to stick to your line. And obviously it's quite hard when you're slowing down so much. All it takes is a little lock up or slight misperception and a lot of bad things happen. I'm sure you'll also notice at least 1 or 2 cars at the start using the original layout, the straight line layout, to basically avoid any crashes through that chicane, and they're allowed to do that as long as they stay within the bollards. It kind of works itself out pretty well, so I think that's a good idea. That was added quite a few years ago, to be fair. It's gone through a few iterations though. I think at one point the bollards at the chicane were actually quite nasty, whereas now they're just foam sort of things that you can pretty much drive into and not damage your car. I do want to say once someone drove through them and got some stuck in their brake duct or something, so you still got to be careful, but in the esports game that does not happen, so you can just drive through them and it's absolutely fine. And yeah, Suzuki with a good shout there, because around Monza, if you qualify second, the grip level is a lot worse offline, so the odd numbered cars will be on the racing line where there's more grip, so that's a good point. And also often diving it around the outside of the first part of the chicane is quite a winning strategy, because normally you can sort of force the car on your right hand side at that point a little bit awkwardly offline, not offline, but in a way how they shouldn't get great traction, and you should be able to carry it all the way around into the next chicane, which I always forget the name of. Ramsey slightly exceeding his box. It looks okay on the screen, but he has been pushed back, so that will make a difference. I've seen that be the difference maker. I mean, you can see here, Share perfectly in line, most likely 0.1 meters off, and you've got Ramsey way back on the box, so that might have already made, swung things a little bit. Yeah, and definitely, I mean, I think not today's race I was in, but last season's, I had that situation with someone on the inside and I had to just abort. It's the way to go. But anyway, 10 lights, and we're off. And Ramsey with not a great start. Share with a mega start, it seems, although then bogging down, so potentially wheel spin. And now we've got Heisgran and Mateus challenging. Share's been absolutely swallowed up. And let's see if we can capture this. So Ramsey holds the inside and makes contact with Heisgran, who bumps into him. Is now pushed wide, just as I mentioned earlier, but manages to stay on the curbs, no grass, and gets really, really good exit there. Really good traction. However, Ramsey must be deploying full ERS and is holding on for dear life in first position. We've got Cher, who's made his way up to third, so he looked like he was going to get swallowed up, and Cher and Femi are going for it. Cher sensibly backs off there, so Cher was slightly swallowed up, but not as bad as I thought. The others really sensibly aborting or not doing anything too crazy, so hats off to the tier 2 drivers today. That was really good to see. Let's go on board now with this Cher-Femi battle. See if Cher can quickly make up for his mistake. It's a bit of a repeat now on his first outing with some mistakes there from the start, but 27 laps, and the main thing is, doesn't look like there's any damage on his car. Looks like he's doing quite well. And whilst we're waiting, let's actually get some of the information on the tyres and so on. So we've got Femi and Cher with hard tyres, and Heisgran, who did get the excellent launch on medium. So right now, looking like a great strategy. Someone's binned it. Who has crashed out? It looks like a Mercedes. Let's go through. It's Northern and Corky. Looks like they've had an issue through Ascari, and that's another. This time the sister or the other Mercedes has binned it in Ascari. Not sure exactly what happened, but what we do have is a safety car. Now the question is anyone going to pit? Probably not unless they have damage, because it is just a bit too early. Monza really does suit a one-stop strategy. But what a shame. Although we have Scallon in the pits, probably due to damage. Let's just follow him though. See what he does. I think the rest are just going to sensibly wait it out. Okay, so maybe because Scallon was so far back, he fought a new set of mediums. Maybe he burnt the temperatures up so high. I've seen that before. When your temps get to sort of 105, 110 plus, you think, do you know what? I'll just box under safety car, catch back up, and I've got tyres that aren't too hot. Although normally you can cool them down in safety car. So it'll be interesting to know his thinking over that. But anyway, that's the move. And of course, he got a 5-second penalty, so probably not quite working out. It has to be said. But I can tell you who it is working out for, and that's Hayskran. 0-1 in the Haas, now in second place. Just quickly have a look at the winners and losers. Here we go. So yeah, Hayskran, as we saw, making up 2 places in place of Cher. I think Cher did well to hold on to 4th in the end. Shep making the most of the chaos, staying in 5th. And again, Chaos Druid with another fantastic start, but one that I completely missed, I have to say. It'd be quite interesting to see his on board post-race. Tag Delta up 8, completely missed that. And yeah, as some of the commentators or some of the comments are saying in the stream, I think Ramsey is in a little bit of trouble still being on the hards, because you're right, the temperatures are hard to get in, and I had that issue when I was just coming out of the pits. When I was onto hard tyres, I was dropping about a second a lap for a couple of laps. It was awful against the medium runners. Hopefully we only have one more lap of safety car. It looks like the only car left to catch up is Scallon, and he would definitely catch up by the end of Sector 1. So as it stands, you've got Ramsey leading, Hayskran second, Femi third, Cher in 4th, Shep up in 5th from 7th. We got Arcognito doing well in 6th, so looking like a solid runner, solid addition to the league. Tac Delta making his presence known. Previously, I think, was in Tier 2 before the merge, but really trying to improve. And it's great to see. Chaos as well, another one that I know was disappointed with his performance last season. And so far, his qualifying and race starts have been really, really strong. Pretty much mirroring his performance at Silverstone so far. Disgruntled up into 9th, another veteran of the Performance Racing League. Dookie, the Canadian, Dutch 11th. So the 2 Canadians again sort of in a bit of a train, so to speak. Almost running into the back of Dookie was Dutch right there. Of course, this time Northern's out. And do you know what? It's very, very unlike Northern retiring. I cannot remember the last race Northern retired. I don't even know if he retired all of last season, to be honest with you. So that would be quite an interesting statistic. But he is a bit like the sort of what's his name? I was going to say like the Kovalainen almost of F1. To Fur in 13th. Good to see him back racing. And Baba Yaga 14th, Mateus 15th with an absolute nightmare. I think there was a bit of contact in the chicane with him, and Scallon, I believe, may have had some Ascari sort of theatrics down in 16th. So it looks like we are ready to crack on, get the race back up and running, and see who will sort of compete. Let's just double check the tyres again though, whilst we wait. If I can remember how to. It's this one. Here we go. Yeah, so Ramsey on hards, it's going to be tough. The only good news for him really, from a statistical point of view, is that it's only Hayskran that is on the medium. So not too bad. Arcognito down in 6th is the next runner on mediums. So at least his direct competition, which is Cher and Femi and Shep right now, really, they're all on the same strategy. And he's ahead of them. So there's something to be said for that. Tafur, I'm not sure what he got his penalty for. Let's just double check whilst we wait. Race director. Interesting. So it was ignoring yellow flags. So maybe he overtook someone in yellows. Maybe it's going to be something he appeals. Yeah, and it looks like, I think the incident with Northern is already going to go to the stewards. In PRL, we don't announce any stewards' decisions until post-race. So if there was anything going on that broke the rules, then it will be revealed post-race. And so far, we've had Scallon and Dutch both have to change their front wing. Otherwise, I think Scallon and Mateus was just a box. Well, in Scallon's case, a strategy call, and Mateus probably just at the back thinking, why not change the tyres and get 2 lap pressure ones. So that's really the only updates I can provide. Hopefully, the safety car's now coming in as we approach the end of lap number 4. Yeah, and I think the safety car coming in on lap 4 rather than say 3 does make it a bit worse for Heijskran on the mediums. But it's all to play for. Let's see. Heijskran did look rapid though. Pre-safety car, he looked like the fastest guy on track. So how is Ramsey going to launch? Is he going to slow down through Parabolica, or is he just going to go for it? Right now, I think he's a bit too close to the safety car. I think he's going to have to really slow him down. Let's just track this. But it's looking a bit interesting. This is not how I would launch, but I'm not saying I'm an expert here. And he's gone for it, but you know what? Yeah, see, Heijskran's read him like a book there, because he just didn't have enough time to play with. You know, the less time you leave to the line, the easier it is to predict. And already Heijskran right on the back of Ramsey, and that's also allowed Shet. And is that a Shet? Oh, someone's absolutely dropped it off the track, I believe, going into the hairpin. Oh, and we've got an Alpha running off, and I believe it was Scallon. I'm not sure who it was that ran off. Let's just stick with the front runners. I don't want to miss anything here. But Chaos up into 5th, and Heijskran running alongside. Can't quite get through. But 3 cars abreast going into that chicane is never going to end well. We saw a car exit stage left in that case, dropping the back end. And Femi is loving it now, up into 3rd and really challenging. Did a great job actually to hold off Cher on the restart, although those two always do show a lot of room. Certainly those two are always keeping it pretty clean together. Wow. And we've got Shep now. Is that Chaos dropping it? Yeah, Chaos has dropped it through Leslo 1. What a shame. 2nd race in a row, but still a long way to go. There could well be another safety car. Let's see. So Heijskran keeping it clean, but Femi has got a fine. And Vinny with 10 seconds for exceeding track limits, most likely because he's dropped it for Riscari and the game has assumed he's cheating. So I'm sure that will get overturned, so don't worry too much about that one. But Vinny has dropped it in Ascari. I don't want to tune out though, because I want to see what happens here. But it looks like the train has already formed. There we go, Scallon past Baba Yaga maybe. That's the only move right now. And nice and clean there. Baba Yaga sensibly concedes, doesn't want to slow himself up too much, because of course if he does, there's Dutch on the mediums waiting. Oh, Mateus running slightly wide there, having to go over the sausage. Looks like he hasn't done too much. Disgruntled having to get a new front wing, and I believe Vinny's going to have to join him there. So a few mistakes, definitely more mistakes this time around than around Silverstone last time out. Right, let's catch back up. And yeah, just reading the comments, there are definitely different ways to restart. I've seen people restart before Parabolica and just planting it. But of course, you've got to really know your grip levels and have the right... A Nightmare might be a VSC for that one. I don't think his front wing survived it as well. It's got to be really